So I got up this morning to do a shoot with a friend, um, and I had some time to drive up to a mountain overlook and just kind of watch the sunrise. I've got kids that are turning 12 tomorrow, and I've got a lot on my mind. But I wanted to just make a video about what I would have told myself when I was 12. The troubles and the experiences that my 12-year-olds are going to have, they're different um, in some ways. Right? We've got COVID, we've got unrest, we've got political drama, and those are all important things to keep in mind. But as I sit here and think about those things and how much things like that mattered to me when I was 12, not a lot. It's tough, right? We got all these problems that feel like they're so much bigger and so much more real than the problems we've heard about in the past. But that's because the problems in the past are done. We tell those stories now. We know those stories and we know how they end. And we know that our our grandparents and our parents survived those things. And so, even though we can hear about them and we can contemplate the difficulty of them and we can imagine ourselves in those situations, there's just such a difference between the academic discussion in the classroom, so to speak, and the hands-on experience in the laboratory. I'm in the laboratory of being a 37-year-old dad. I I don't know what I'm doing a lot of the time. And I'm just trying to figure out how to teach my kids to be strong and to be kind and be to be dangerous when they need to, but to strive to be peacemakers before needing to be dangerous. I am very proud of my children. I'm very proud of my 12-year-olds. They are amazing people. They are they're funny and they're clever. They they make me laugh. They take the funny, silly, or interesting things that I do and they just run with them in a way that just makes me think, you know what? I'm gonna be the dad to I'm gonna be the dad to the next scientists and directors and artists and the next awesome parents in the world. Uh, not because I'm some amazing element in those things, but because I see so much promise and potential in my children. This has been a very weird and hard time for me where I've felt like I wanted to do better. I wanted to pretend that I could do it all on my own, and my family has been patient with me and has been a source of inspiration and motivation and a reason for being more disciplined. And I've struggled to understand just how to formulate the right kind of thoughts. I've got so many video ideas and so many hobbies and pursuits and things that I think could make the world a better place, but I'm stuck waffling between worrying what other people might think of me and being scared that no one will care one way or the other. And what I'd tell 12-year-old me and what I want to tell 12-year-old my kids is that work on strengthening your self esteem to the point that maybe when you're 37 that you don't let those things get in the way, and that you do things because you know they're right, and because you feel that that's the voice that you want to give to the world, even if it's unpopular, and even if it feels like it will go unheard. If you truly feel that that's what you need to be adding to the world, then make sure you add it. Suppose now is that classic time in all videos where people go, I don't even know if I'm going to post this. Maybe I'm learning some empathy there. I don't know if I'm going to post this. Uh, Sitting in your car on a mountainous overlook, holding up a light on your face. I don't even know if it's doing anything. uh, as I talk into a camera and get emotional, I don't know. In my head, I pictured this beautiful, epic time lapse and this scenic, motivational video just magically coming together. And life's not like that. Not a not without a lot of luck and with some planning. Um, that's probably also a great lesson for 12-year-old me, is that stop thinking that you can just give it a mediocre effort and wind up in the best outcome. Sometimes you do. Sometimes 12-year-old Neil, sometimes 14-year-old Neil and 17-year-old Neil and probably 25-year-old Neil would try to do as little studying as possible and occasionally wind up getting a good grade on something. But that's not usually statistically the most likely outcome. And that maybe you really need to pick what you really want. You need to work hard for that. And that I hope my 12-year-olds never feel like they had to do something because mom and dad forced them into it. There are plenty of things I want for my kids. There are plenty of things that I want them to learn and to follow. I want them to absorb my values and my beliefs and things like that. I think it's my my duty to them and my responsibility to society to teach my children these things. But I teach them these things because I truly believe they're right, and they're good for my children personally and for society as a whole. And what I struggle now is wondering how much of that I'm truly getting across. That doing things just to make mom and dad happy, there's perhaps some good there, but it's it's a cargo cult, right? It's doing these things, and if good comes of it, yay. Seeing the connection there, seeing that there are a poem I hope to do a video on, the gods of the copybook headings, that there are some of these old timey notions and wisdom that they've stuck around for a reason. What those are and what they mean to you personally, you are going to have to figure out for yourself. And those might not all be mine, but at least consider why they were mine and why they're important. To understand the past doesn't mean you have to agree with it, but you can at least respect being in that moment. And as I look back and think about the crises that my parents, my grandparents, and so on, they lived through, I'm sure they had moments where they felt frustrated, where they felt downtrodden, or they felt like maybe their dreams were reduced to just them being somebody who paid the bills and woke up in the morning to fix breakfast, and they wondered if they were just going to wash, rinse, repeat that methodology for forever. And yet they know now that that wasn't the case. And they even talk about how such times were the good times, and they were more fleeting than they realized. So I hope my 12-year-olds will I hope you'll forgive me for being impatient with sometimes the mediocrity of our current experience, and maybe someday realize that truly that mediocrity was a gift, was a sign of great fortune, that we had the relative mundane experience to be bored, to have the mediocre, and to not have to have some roller coaster of daredevil excitement every day, which always sounds fun, but roller coasters of life generally mean more risk and failure than maybe we anticipate when we're thinking we want to wait in line to ride them. Be strong, be dangerous, but be peacemakers.